In today's Necrons and More live stream, we're going to be talking about 10th edition. Now what? We're also going to be looking at Necrons of the Week and, as always, more. It's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this live stream. Hello everyone, I hope you are well. It seems not that long ago that I was actually live on the channel because I did 3 hobby live streams in March, and they were a lot of fun. So hopefully everyone enjoyed the extra content in terms of live format. So let's have a quick look, see who's in the house. We've got Jar, he says, Necrons! We always love a good Necrons. We have Necron Girl, which was actually me, because I'm using Necron Girl's laptop. And we have Alexander, who says, I'm ready, waiting to watch. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. So hopefully the sound and everything is okay. And the video, because it looks good from my end, so yeah, hopefully your end too. So we've got a bit of a show for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about 10th edition because it's the hot topic and pretty exciting. Before we do that though, let's do the usual little chit chat beforehand, where we do a little hobby and channel update and also talk about Easter, because wow, it's Easter already. How can it be April already? I can't believe how quick this year is going. I do actually have 4 days off for Easter, which is quite unusual. To be fair, I usually work the weekends, and to have 4 days off is quite rare, so I'm really looking forward to that. I've got a game with Richard on Monday, Easter Monday. Sunday I'm going to be going around my mum's for roast dinner, so that'll be nice. Saturday I'm going to be playing snooker, and tomorrow I'm going to be doing some hobby. So the weekend's all planned, but at least no work, which is fantastic. All right, we have John Gibson in the house. He says, Yahoo! Let's go Necrons! Welcome John, and welcome to Victor as well. He also says Necrons! And we have Jeff Nagel in the house. Hello, Jeff. 3 live streams in the morning when normal people have to work. I know. Not a great time, but it was when I was doing hobby, and I have to say those live streams really helped me. I did 2 3-hour live streams and 1 3.5-hour live stream. And I still didn't complete all of the mould lines on my 2 Ghost Arcs. I had to do about another hour. So yeah, it took approximately, because I did do a lot of talking in those live streams, but approximately 5 hours just to scrape the mould lines off a Ghost Arc, which was quite a long time. Anyway, I pushed through them and they're all done now. All the mould lines are done anyway. Well, it's April because last month was March. Oh, how about that? Yes, indeed it was. March was incredibly busy as well. So let's have a look at my notes, see what I want to talk about. Excuse me. So yeah, I did. The reason why I did those extra live streams was basically I had some time to myself. My fiance went away for a little bit. So yeah, I had the house to myself, and gave me an opportunity to do those extra live streams, because usually she's working from home, so I don't have that opportunity. So that was nice, and made some extra videos. So hopefully you've been enjoying all the content, and I've got some more content obviously coming up as well, including some battle reports, which hopefully you will enjoy. I've got another 3rd edition battle report coming. I've got another Jack of all trades battle reports coming, and yeah, Monday's game that I've got coming up should be fun as well. I've got a new Necronist I'm going to try, and Richard is going to play Astra Militarum, so that will be interesting. Always really enjoyed watching you and Richard's battling against each other. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to hear that. I've said that. Now, obviously, it's been quite hard working out what videos to make, to be fair, because, you know, like tactical videos and unit analyst videos, there's no point making those now because obviously we've got 10th edition coming. So I've just been basically making videos on what I'm doing, like hobby-wise. I'm making those into videos like painting tutorials. I've got some magnetizing videos coming up, and of course battle reports and sort of army list videos. So I've just been making videos on what I'm doing, but obviously once 10th edition comes, especially once any news comes or anything which is going to really impact the Necrons, then obviously we'll be making videos on those. At the moment, of course, we've had some rules. Obviously, we know what's happening, but nothing really sort of too much related to Necrons in terms of anything different that other armies are going to get. So yeah, I haven't really made any 10th edition videos. I'm going to talk a bit about it in today's video, and probably going to make that into a video after, so not today's video, today's live stream, you know what I mean. However, what I have been doing is I've been doing quite a bit of hobby, which has been really nice. So I am now magnetizing my ghost arcs, and I have actually made the process a little, not easier, probably slightly better, I would say, than my original tutorial on how to do that. So yeah, I'm going to not update the video. I'm going to do like an improved video, so like a little add-on one. Plus, I'm going to make like an easy way to magnetize a Doomsday Arc to a Ghost Arc. So I'll have my complicated way, where you do magnetize everything, and then I'm going to have like a really simple, quick, easy way to do basically the same, but not fully magnetized. So yeah, as I said, hobby videos mainly to come. Do you think we will get Gauss weapons back? I seriously hope so. I'm just going to mute my phone. Yeah, I really hope so. It'll be interesting. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? So, what am I going to be doing after the Ghost Arcs? Now, I know I'm not even painting my Ghost Arcs yet. I'm still building them. But I always like to think about the units I'm going to do after, because it gives me that extra motivation. It's like, right, when I get these done, I can look forward to doing that unit. And I'm thinking I am doing quite well at the moment of clearing out the pile of shame that I've got, which isn't that big, but I'm doing really well at clearing that out. So I think I might continue with that job in my next project, and I'm thinking I'm going to do some Tesla Immortals next. So I have the models ready to go, so I think that's what I'm going to do next. But obviously, got to get these Ghost Arcs / Doomsday Arcs finished first. Oh, did you enjoy your birthday? I had a fantastic birthday, thank you. Yeah, Richard and I had a really good game. That was really nice. And then in the evening we went out for a meal with the family, and yeah, that was really nice as well. So yeah, it was a good birthday, a very good birthday. And obviously that birthday battle report is up on the channel if you haven't seen it already. We have DeWoy 1. I just want Doomsday Cannons to hit more appropriate, like D3 plus 3 or D6 plus 2. Yep, I have a feeling they probably will, but we don't know exactly what damage. We just don't know at the moment how these weapons and guns and AP everything's going to work. But hopefully now that everyone's going to be on the same page, we will be on the same page as everyone else. So even if our weapons are still random, as long as everyone else gets that, that's fine. It's when we have that and everyone else doesn't. That's when the main issue is there. But one thing I in my last game with Richard, one thing it was really highlighted to me was that I really don't like this random stuff in the game. Okay, I get that maybe it's a bit fun, but it's just very swingy, not just with like the Necrons, but like Richard had a fair few weapons that were D3 hits, for example, and that is like very random. I think it'd be better if there was no randomness in the game. You knew what you had. I think probably it'd be better. I'd be less dice rolling and adding up, and that would speed the game up as well. Play a game with 3rd edition rules. I would like to do that, but it just means learning a whole new rule set, because I can't remember all of the old rules, and then you'd have to learn the 3rd edition rules as well as the 3rd edition codex rules, and it sounds like just too much hard work just for a couple of games, so probably not going to do that, to be fair. I built a Predator Annihilator and a Land Raider for my Iron Warriors today. I completely forgot how bad the old GW models are. I'm also working on my arcs. Did you happen to come across easier ways to magnetize? Okay, I've come across a way which, not necessarily easier, but something which I avoided doing on my first tutorial. So I've done it on this one because I feel I'm far more experienced now. What it's done, it's made some of the magnetizing joints more secure and stronger and neater. So yeah, I'll have videos on that, but I'm happy with what I've done. Some of it I haven't changed, like the warriors in the Ghost Ark itself. I do have those big magnets which you can see, and I was thinking it'd be great if I can embed those magnets, but those warriors need a good connection there, otherwise they will start spinning around. So I've decided I think that is probably the best option, but there's one or two things which I have improved, so yeah, that should be good. Alright, okay, so I think I've already, no, I haven't said this, I've half said it. So first thing we're going to talk about is 10th edition and the free rules, which is going to be a thing. So hopefully this is going to be the case. On day one of the release, we're going to be able to get all of the rules free, and that's fantastic, because one reason why I didn't occasionally play my other armies apart from Necrons occasionally is because I didn't want to go out and spend £35 on a codex just to play a couple of games. But if the rules are going to be free for those other armies, it means that I could potentially play those other armies without costing me too much money, so I can occasionally play them on the channel. Now, of course, towards the end of 9th edition, Richard and I did invest in a few codices so that we could have some variety on the channel rather than just Necrons versus Orcs every other week. And that worked well, but obviously we did invest a fair amount of money because we bought the codices and also the data cards. We didn't have to, of course, but we did. So it would be nice to have those rules free. And of course, the Tyranids, of course, are going to be in the starter set, so there's a very high chance that Richard and I will buy 2 starter sets between us, one each, and then split the contents. I have a Tyranid army, I'm probably going to have the Tyranid side, and Richard will have the Space Marine side, and presumably the rule book and everything's going to be in there as well, so we'll have a rule book each. It makes sense, it's usually a pretty cost-effective way to buy everything, so potentially, you know, I might have some Tyranid stuff to be working on. So I'm not going to go all out, oh, new edition, new army, or anything like that. We're talking about like an occasional game with a different army, just to keep the channel fresh. And if I do play like the Tyranids, for example, then Richard will probably play the Necron, so at least we'll have the Necrons featured on the channel in pretty much all of the videos, because primarily that's what this channel's about, but I've got the little and more just because, you know, occasionally I might want to do other videos. Rules are free at the beginning. I'll bet there will be a new codices for each army. Yeah, there's definitely going to be a codex of some description to make you spend some money. It's not going to be free, is it? We know that. Hello Bazza from Underdog Painting, how you doing? Did you post the videos yet? No, not yet. I'm still working on them, so I'm only halfway through. I'm hoping to get some hobby in over the next 4 days in between doing all the other stuff, and get the videos finished and then scheduled in, because I do schedule my videos. So usually you watch the video, I'm usually like if I'm doing well, 2 weeks in advance. So yeah, if I make a video like this weekend, you may not see it for another week or possibly 2 weeks. Right, I think we are ready to go to a segment of the show. So let's do it.
Necrons
of the week.
Necrons.
Yes. Oh, wrong button, but we don't care. It's a Necrons. So yes, we are going to have a look at the Necrons of the week. So if you are new to this live stream, and if you are new to this live stream, new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. I'd also appreciate anyone in the chat liking the stream as well for me, please, because that really helps. I'd like to get as many likes as I can. So yeah, if you're new to this segment of the show, basically it's me looking at some cool Necrons from around the interwebs. Today we are going to look at some Facebook posts and also some Instagram posts. There's some really cool stuff to show you, and it's all about Necrons, of course. So let's go table down, have a look at the first Necrons of the week. Ta-da! Right, let me change my view. Right, so this is by Matt Van Rugen. If you haven't watched my channel before, I cannot pronounce names. Hello, John Hammer. How are you doing? Oh, my favourite part, Necrons of the week. Excellent. So yeah, look at this cool guy. This, of course, is the anniversary edition of Kamateth the Crooked, but converted to be standing on this, well, Canoptic Spider by the looks of it. And I've just been looking at the comments of this. Now, I don't actually own a Canoptic Spider, not the new one. I've got 6 of the old metal ones. But one of the comments was, that's a clever way to show off the criminally underappreciated details on the Spider model. So I'm assuming that underneath the Spider, you actually get all these little mini scarabs actually already there, not like they've got to cut out or glue on. They're there. I mean, if anyone has a Spider, let me know if that is the case. But I thought it was a cool conversion, very different, and I'm assuming he's probably going to be using this as a Technomancer proxy, potentially. You know, maybe with the sort of Spider themes, almost like he's riding something. It'd be pretty cool if this was hovering, maybe, like hovering off the ground. Either that, it's some sort of teleportation device. Who knows what the imagination was behind this. But I thought it was really cool, and I thought I would bring it to the show. It is the case, boss. Right, okay, excellent. So, yeah, that's awesome. Obviously, the Tesseract Vault, that's got loads and loads of scarabs on the inside as well, and then you get loads of tiny ones on the sprues as well, so that's really nice. I didn't waste my little scarabs in that kit, because I glued them all to the base, and the base does look really cool. But I'm also thinking, if I hadn't been so extravagant with all those little scarabs, I might be able to use those for other things, but there you go. It's got a cool base, so that's the main thing. Yeah, that's the underbody, and it's covered up so you can barely see it once built. All the colours really match together well. I agree. Yeah, he looks really, really cool. Right, let's move on to the next one. Actually, the next one is more than one single miniature. It's a little force. Very cool looking force, and reminds me very much of the models which I've had donated to the channel. I've talked about this before, to do a giveaway, not a giveaway, a raffle on the channel to try and raise money for charity. So that will be the plan. I just need to make some time to do that. But yeah, these models just reminded me of that, and very well painted indeed. I love the contrast of that sort of almost, I don't know what green that is, but the green and then obviously the orange yellow blades looks really, really cool. To show you a couple more units, and actually I've got these handy. So these were painted by Siege Studios, and they look quite similar actually. So let me get to a different view. Bear with me a second. Right, there you go. So that's the Wraith. So I've got 3 Wraiths in this raffle, and also this guy here, the Triarch Stalker, which is awesomely painted by Siege Studios. I've got the certificate of authenticity and stuff there. So yeah, I will be doing a raffle at some point for this. I had a discussion about it actually in my hobby live stream. We decided, I say we, me and myself and people in the comments, probably going to go for like £5 a ticket. And then you get a chance to win this awesome set of miniatures. So yeah, that's going to happen at some point. And then probably going to donate it, going to choose Mind as the charity. I think that'd be a pretty cool charity. Very scary looking and totally loving the green. I just finished my first spider, one of my mainstay units in every list. They do have these scarabs under the butt. However, if you don't leave the upper side open, you won't see any. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it, how GW do that sometimes. You get loads and loads of detail and then you just like glue something over the top of it. Right, let's go table down again. And this time I need to just change the view slightly because we're going to hop on over to Instagram. So that is my Instagram view, which actually Facebook looks better on that one, but only on this picture. Okay, now before we move over, I am going to quickly have a sip of water. Right, here we go. So this little unit here is by Modelling for Disadvantage, and I really like these. These are very, very cool. Now can you see that okay? Hold on, let's have a look. Oh, okay, well that's the best I can do. I'm not quite sure why that's over to one side, but there you go. So basically we have, let me see if I can just change this. I don't know why it's over there for. Let's try that. Right, that's a bit better, isn't it? Try that a bit more. So professional. So professional. There we go, that's better. Love the Mefrit colours, my entire army is Mefrit. Yeah, that's right, that green and orange, right? Mefrit dynasty. Okay, so yeah, I really like these. I mean, it's pretty basic, but it's very high quality. And the person who did this, as I said, is Modelling for Disadvantage. What I really like about this is how we've got the little scarabs coming out of here, and actually you've got the old scarabs coming out. When I look at this, it really does look like these have just all come out of this body here. It's got the little wires or something coming out to represent trails of spider webs, maybe, I'm not sure. But I like the way that the old and new scarabs are sort of mixed together, and they work together quite well. So some very cool conversion work, but also really nicely painted. I thought these were super cool, and I thought I would share them so you guys can have a look. What do you think? They look chill, cool colours and look like they could go deep down water. Yeah, I can see them being submerged too. Really cool. Now I do actually have one of these Canoptic spider things from the Technomancer spare. I did a conversion on one of mine, so I do actually have one of these. Didn't know what to do with it, but maybe now I've got an idea. Right, let's have a look at the next one. Right, next one is from, I'm not sure if this is Gothead or Gothed. I think it's Gothed, 420, and he's showing his Technomancer conversion with a very scary looking spider. Not quite sure how he made this actual spider here, but it looks really cool. There's a couple of pictures. Show you the next one. There we go. Looks really creepy, doesn't it? But I thought it was a cool little conversion. Oh, here we go. Does he say anything? Right. Built this cryptic with magnetized Canoptic cloak from a fantasy wraith and several Necron parts. The cloak device itself is made from the hand of a Revel Battlestar Galactica Cyclone Centurion. The bottom is from leftover parts of a Forge World Tombstalker, as well as a warrior's torso as its neck. The reanimator's faceplate with a piece from a phase blade as its mandibles. A glorious kit bash. I think it is a glorious kit bash. Well, that is what you call a kit bash. And I don't think I've really done a proper kit bash, to be honest. I've done a lot of conversions where I've taken a model and sort of converted it and changed it, but I've never really just like emptied my bits box out on the desk and just made something. So maybe that's what I need to do. Like my first Necron kit bash, like a real kit bash. That could be an interesting hobby project. What do you think? Do you think I should do that? Should I do that? Right, let's have another look at the comments. Very buggy looking. Very cool. I agree, Coots. Hello, Coots. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Hey, he's here. Gothhead, yeah. Thank you very much for submitting that. Awesome looking creepy spider. I think that's the first thing I said to you. That looks creepy. Right, let's move on to the next one. The shiny green gives it that buggy look and looks cool. I agree, yes. That's that slimy alien type look, isn't it? Okay, the next one is by a Warzone Studio. This awesome looking monolith, very different looking monolith. And actually, if you go to the Warzone Studio Instagram page, they've got some really, really awesome miniatures on there. So well painted. But of course, we're looking at this one because it's a Necrons one. But I really like this because it's just so different. I've never seen anyone do those corners in that sort of green like glow effect. And obviously there's a bit of rust on there as well. It does appear to be airbrushed, I think, those glow effects. I think you can tell that from the sort of the orb, etc. But, you know, awesomely painted monolith. That would look really, really cool on the table, I bet. If it's not Novok, it's not a Necron. You like your Novok then, Sherry? I do like Novok. I've played Novok a reasonable amount, to be fair. But my whole army is just painted the same as that 3rd edition codex when I first started. And I don't plan to do other dynasties. I have considered it, thought about it, but no. My army is what it is. It's going to stay that way. My eyes have been burned with the incredible light green glow. Ah. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. Hey, so we have a kit bash stroke conversion of this guy. I'm not quite sure what he's supposed to be, which model, if anything. It's by Studio Imperial. And obviously we've got the Technomancer there holding a Gauss Flayer, and then obviously the Warsaw attached to his back. This one reminds me of a miniature that I had done by, it's called Kikamu 7. Used to be on YouTube, he probably still is, but I don't think he uploads. But an incredible artist in terms of painting, and he made me a Cryptek, one of the old miniatures, and he had the staff magnetised onto his back because he had flayed one claws, and he did like blood effects on the claws. And when I saw this with his staff like on his back, I thought, yeah, that is cool. However, this model also highlights one thing which I absolutely hate about the Technomancer. That's that stupid hand. I just don't get that hand. That just doesn't feel right, that hand. Yeah, I'm not too impressed with that hand, I have to be honest. But a cool mini, cool conversion. So yeah, great job. Have you ever done a video about the reasons for buying your first Necrons Codex? I have. I've talked about it a few times, but there is one particular video. It's quite old now. When I hit, what milestone was it? I'm not sure. I think it must have been, I think it was 10,000 subscribers, and I did a past, future and present video where I talked about my whole story of how I started collecting models, etc. So yeah, you should be able to find that in the archives somewhere. I believe it was 10,000 subscribers, but anyway, yeah, you'll be able to find it, no trouble. I like the OSL, yeah. Oh, on the monolith are we talking about? Or are we talking about this one? I think it must be on the monolith. Man, he's one rusty old looking Necrons. Yeah, he is pretty rusty. But it works quite well in contrast with the green. He even has blood on his blade. So let's hope in the new data sheets that we get, the Necron Warriors' close combat weapon is the Gauss Flayer blade. Because, I mean, they've got blades on their guns, and currently they fight with their fists. I mean, what is that all about, GW? I'm looking at the wrong camera. What is that all about, GW? We have a blade on our gun. In close combat, we fight with the blade on our gun. Surely, it doesn't make sense. So hopefully the new data sheet will say Gauss Flayer blade for the close combat attacks. I think that would make sense. That would work. Alright, let's have a look at the next one. We have, of course, the traditional Catan model. And this has been painted by Mohawk Miniatures. Now you may not be able to see it that well here, but don't worry, I've got another close-up picture which I wanted to talk about. But again, I went on to Mohawk Miniatures Instagram page, and wow, he's an awesome painter. Some fantastic painting on his page. So if you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend you do. Now let's have a closer look at this, because he's added this extra detail onto the miniature which just works so well, and it's sort of pretty basic, but it's incredibly well done. He's obviously added the extra lines, certainly on this chest plate here, and just on his leg, some of these panels, and obviously on this head section. But that really brings out these sort of squarey bits here with the breakage, and it just makes him look really cool. So I thought I've got to share this, because that is one cool looking Catan, very different from all the other Catans that we've seen. And I've noticed that his painting in a lot of his miniatures are in this sort of, not the colour palette, but the style, where you've got this almost like dull look with the paints and the colours that he used. It didn't seem to do many like really vibrant colours, and personally I like that. I'm not a huge fan of bright, vibrant sort of colour palettes. When I'm painting, I don't tend to like really highlight, like extreme highlights. You know, I'll highlight it to a degree, but I won't go extreme. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe my painting would be better if I did more extremes. But it's just the way I like it. I feel it just looks more natural. But yeah, I thought I would bring this guy to you. What do you think of him? That's One Popping Green. Very helpful in my opinion. Mohawk Miniatures streams painting on Twitch. Oh, does he? Okay, that's cool. We've got Gothhead, who says, I made that metallic green by a simple technique: bolt gun metal undercoat, silver highlight and warp lightning contrast paint. Okay. We have Tyke Orama. He says, just because they get one attack doesn't mean they fight with fists. Imperial Guard fight with shovels and knives. Marines fight with knives, etc. Well, I don't know. I seem to just, maybe it wasn't this edition, but there was one edition where it literally says they fight with their fists. In my head, that's what they're doing anyway, unless it physically says they use their blade on their gun to fight. Okay, that does bring us to the end of Necrons of the week. Let's go back to my main camera. There you go. Hope you enjoyed all of those. Always enjoy bringing some cool looking Necrons to you. The Void Dragon is awesome. I have to admit, I thought so too. I also used Crackle Medium Varnish for the living metal effect. I think it did really well. Yeah, some very unusual stuff in there which you don't see that often, and that's why I think it stands out as being really creepy, because you look at it, you think, ooh, I don't want to go near that. That could hurt me. All right. Okay, let's have a look. So already talked about that. Okay, so we are going to be ready to move on to the next segment of the show, which is
Necrons
Tactical Corner.
Yes, it's Necrons Tactical Corner. I'm just going to turn off my subscriber loop, because what I plan to do is take some clips from this segment and make it into a video, and that subscriber loop just gets in the way when I'm doing the editing. So we'll see if it helps. That's the Deceiver that fights with fists, according to the rulebook. Right, let's have a look then. So, today's Tactical Corner is... So, 10th edition is coming, but now what? It's coming right up. There you go. That's the intro. That's the intro. Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Well, actually, this is some clips from my recent live stream. So if you want to see my live streams, then make sure you check them out in the description below. But today we are going to be talking about 10th edition, because it is coming, and at the moment we are in limbo land. We've got 9th edition. We know the rules are going to be out of date soon. We've seen some of 10th edition rules, but not all of them. It's on the horizon. And to be fair, we're in limbo land. We just don't know what's happening. And we've been here before, or at least some of us have. so it's not new territory. However, some of you probably have never been here before. This is your first edition change, and I'm sure you've got some questions. And I thought maybe today we will talk about what I think you might be asking. There's the intro, and that is what we're going to be talking about, the transition from one edition to the next. Need more Necrons metal music? Yes, well, Navani Productions, who did the Necron song for me, and also the Necron Christmas song, did say that he feels he's improved since he did the first version, and I think he wants to rework that song, so that'd be pretty cool. Whereabouts are you in the UK anyway? Wales here. I am from Portsmouth, right down south on the coast. So basically, everywhere in the UK for me is up north. Right, let's continue with this. So, question 1. Should I buy a new army for this new edition? Or maybe, what units should I buy for this new edition? Well, buying a new army for a new edition can be a lot of fun, especially if it's, well, basically one of the armies which Games Workshop are going to push quite a lot. In 9th edition, of course, it was the Necrons, which is really cool for me, really cool for you, because we had a load of new Necron miniatures, and we had the first codex, and it was mega exciting. And of course, this edition, it's going to be the Space Marines, it always is, but it's going to be Tyranids. Now, I actually personally have a Tyranid army, so I won't be starting a new army. However, I may be maybe adding miniatures to my current army. So it can be a good time to jump into a new army if you're thinking about making a second army or a third army and you haven't had the inspiration to do so, then well, this could well be it. But bearing in mind that Games Workshop do tend to sort of, let's say, feature armies that they have new models for quite heavily at the beginning of an edition. And, you know, they basically big them up and try to sell as many of those new miniatures as they can. And then when the next codex comes out, you sort of almost get dropped. So yeah, Necrons experienced this in 9th edition. Brand new models, huge range of models, brand new shiny codex. But then as the new codices were released with new miniatures, each new miniature set that came out, the rules got more powerful and more powerful. And we had the codex creep, where the first books that come out went sort of down in level, and the new books that came out went up. Now, GW did, to be fair, try to address this with data slates and chapter approved updates, and in many cases they did quite well at this. However, whilst they did some tweaks that made us a bit more competitive, like adding more core units, which should have been there in the first place, changing command protocols, which should have been there in the first place. There are things which they clearly should have changed and didn't. Things like the random damage of our guns, D6 shot, D6 damage, when everyone else had at least like D3 plus 3. So yeah, the codex creep is a thing. So make sure if you do invest in a new army that you really want that army, not just because it's the newest, latest thing, but because you like the look of it, you like the lore behind it, and you want to play this army, and you see yourself playing this army through a few editions, because ideally that's what you need to be in a mindset of that. So whether the rules are good or bad, you'll still enjoy your army, you still enjoy painting it. My second army is Tyranids, so hey. What did Crons get as new models in 9th? They got a huge amount of models. Scorpate destroyers, Ophidian destroyers, a load of HQ units. We had the Reanimator. We had the Canoptic Doomstalkers. We had the Fortification. We had the Hexmark destroyers. We had new Locust Heavy Destroyer miniatures. We had a boatload of stuff. So yeah, we got a lot of miniatures. If you start a new army, I suggest the Leagues of Votan. None of this stuff will be phased out for at least a decade. Plus Space Dwarfs. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yes, that is fair enough. Now the second part of this question is, what units should I buy in readiness for 10th edition? And obviously we're going to be talking more from a Necron point of view. Now it is very hard to say because we don't know the rules yet, so it's almost impossible to say. Personally, I am going to be painting or building and painting some Tesla Immortals. Why? Well, I'm just taking a bit of a punt on it because I'm feeling that Gauss Immortals and Gauss weapons have been the flavour of 9th edition. We do know that AP isn't going to be so powerful or potent in the new edition. And I have a funny feeling that Tesla may be the weapon of choice, especially on our on our Immortals. So I'm just taking a bit of a punt on that, but not just that. I would recommend, rather than going out and buying new miniatures for the edition and taking a punt on it, I would just look at your pile of shame and say, right, which miniatures do I want to get done? They may not be usable in 10th edition. They may be really bad in 10th edition. They may be really good. It doesn't really matter. I would say take this opportunity whilst you can, because once you do know the rules, that might then push you into doing a particular unit. Let's just say Wraiths are awesome in 10th edition. You don't have any Wraiths. You're probably going to want to go out and get some Wraiths and build and paint them. So for now, just paint stuff that you've already got. You know, even the most prolific hobbyists still have some models that they haven't sort of built and painted yet. So that would be my suggestion. Now, in terms of buying more miniatures for 10th edition, well, I would actually do the opposite. So it's not good to buy new miniatures at the beginning of the edition, which are the best miniatures. So let's take, for example, the Wraiths. Let's just say Wraiths are like mega good in 10th. You wouldn't necessarily go out and buy loads of Wraiths. What you would do is go out and buy loads of miniatures which are not very good in the Codex. So let's just say Flayed ones, for example, are awful in 10th edition, like really bad. That's the time that you go out and buy a load of miniatures, because usually certain type of collectors who just like to have like the best stuff will get rid of all the miniatures which aren't very good, so they can get some money and then buy the new stuff. And so usually it's a good opportunity to buy units where everyone sells them off because they're not very good. Because what I can tell you, almost guaranteed in this hobby, is that GW like to rotate what's good and what's not good, because it helps sell stuff. A bit like Immortals. You know, Tesla Immortals were all the rage when they first came out. We had new miniatures, and the reason why they did that is they didn't want everyone using their old Gauss Immortals. They wanted you to go out and buy the new one. So Tesla was all the rage. And then they switched up. So everyone's got Tesla Immortals now. Let's get some Gauss Immortals being sold. No one's going to want those old miniatures now anyway. They'll want those new miniatures. So, you know, things get switched up quite a lot. And this generally means that we would have a good opportunity to buy lower priced miniatures at the beginning of an edition when people start to sell off some of the not so good miniatures. There you go. Some expert advice from 20 odd years of playing this game. Or at least that's been my experience anyway. I still like my Annihilation barges. I really liked them, yeah. When they could do actions, they were even better. But yeah, they're still cool. Nick, that's true. Everyone that scrapped their Canoptic Reanimators is going to regret it over the next edition. I can put money on it. I totally agree with you there. Yeah, I bet the Reanimators are going to be good. Right, so... Now the third, not necessarily question, but third thing that I want to talk about is actually the gaming side of things, because, well, once again, we're playing ninth, we're playing the new Arcs of Omen, it's been all good fun, but we also know that 10th is around the corner, things are going to change dramatically. I personally don't want to invest in trying to make like the best competitive type lists that I can at the moment, because I'm thinking you can't just make a competitive list just like off the cuff going through Battle Scribe, you know, oh yeah, competitive list done. It takes a lot of practice to play a list to make it competitive. Well, I believe it does anyway. You need that battle experience with the list, a good amount of games, gradually tweaking that list and preparing it for all situations, and that does take time, and it's not a good time to do that, but it is a perfect time to play all of those weird and wacky lists that you've always wanted to play in ninth, but you just didn't want to get trounced on the table. This is the perfect time because no one really cares. It's like, hey, I lost, so what, 10th edition is around the corner, the ball is going to change shape in the new edition, and this is a perfect time to just play what you want. You know, if you like Annihilation barges but you just haven't played them in 9th edition, play them. Play 3 of them if you've got the models. Just play what you want and have some fun, roll some dice, don't worry about winning and losing, just enjoy yourself. That's what I'm going to do in this little transition period. I've been playing that 3rd edition Necron list, which I've had an awesome amount of fun with. Fantastic, really enjoyed those games. Arguably, probably I've had 2 of those games at the moment, and arguably they've been the best games I've had in 9th edition. A lot of fun. I did make a slight mistake on my list because the Locust Lord cannot be my Warlord. It has to be the Lord because of the stupid Royal Court rule. So both battle reports have that mistake, but it didn't really make a difference. It just meant that the Warlord trait was on a different miniature, effectively. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. And I've got some new lists coming up. I've got a list that I've adapted my 3rd edition list because I enjoyed playing it so much that I've taken the core of that list but took units that just aren't in the 3rd edition codex. You know, I've just expanded it slightly, and I'm really looking forward to playing that. However, against Astra Militarum on Monday, I'm going to be playing what I call a shooty list. The theme being that every single unit in the army can shoot. Doesn't matter what gun they've got, but it's a shooting list. I'm going to play Mefret, and I'm just going to stand back and shoot. When I made the list, I didn't realise that Richard was going to be playing Astra Militarum. I thought it might be Orcs, but it doesn't matter because I haven't list tailored. I just never do that anyway. But I've thrown in units in that army that I just want to play. So heading up my force will be an Overlord, and I've taken the Overlord because I want to play my converted Overlord. You know, the guy on standing on the Orc that I've got. So I want to play him because I painted it, built it, not played it yet. So that was one criteria. Got to get him on the table. The other one is that I wanted my new heavy destroyers on the table, but they're not going to be holding the Gauss destructor thing. They're going to be holding the exterminator gun. I'm going to have 2 units of Gauss destructors, old models, and then my new unit are going to be holding the new gun. I know then it's not as good, that gun, but it's going to be fun, and it's going to fit the theme of the list of a shooting army. So that is highly what I would recommend, is play for fun. When 10th comes, we're also going to be playing for fun, because it will take a while to unlock the codex and the rules in general, and sort of gradually come up with more competitives, if you will, lists. But yeah, it's a bit of a learning curve, so why not just go all out for fun? Nick, have you ever had problems with metallic paints with all the Necrons you've painted in your life? I have coverage and paint consistency problems. They're repeatedly good Vallejo metal colours. I've never had a problem, no. But I don't actually paint the metallics on. Obviously, they're just dry brushed, so I don't know if that makes a difference. But no, I've had no issues at all. And to be fair, when I've painted metallics, because usually if I'm painting any other army, apart from Necrons, I would actually paint it on and they do a wash and they do the double edge highlight. So when I did my Noise Marines, for example, I've done a few commissions. When I painted my Orcs, I've always done it that way. It's just with the Necrons, I dry brushed them because that's how I first started, because that's what my 3rd edition codex told me to do. Dry brush your Necron miniatures. Okay, dry brush. So that's how the army came about. Yeah, we didn't really have washes then. We had inks, but I didn't use an ink until I did my Deceiver. I used a red ink over that gold. But yeah, just dry brushing. Have a nice one, yeah. Thank you, I will. I only play tournaments, but it's a ton of fun. Yep, I have been to a few tournaments, and it is fun. I had great success with Necrons, made into the top 150 players in Germany in my first year of playing 40k. That's awesome, well done. Right, let's just finish out this video. Now, of course, when 10th edition does drop, or start again, because so of course, when 10th edition does drop, I am going to be making as many videos as I can, all about the Necron rules and the Necron side of 10th edition. So, of course, make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss one of those videos, and don't forget to press the bell notification, because, well, that's the best way to not miss a video. Thank you for watching, and that was a rubbish outro. So even though we're live, I'm going to do it again, because that's how much of a perfectionist I am. Now, of course, I'm going to be making as many Necron videos about 10th edition as I can once we have more rules available to us. If you want to keep an eye out for those videos, the best way to do that is to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Until then, check out the videos linked up in the description below, because I think you might like them. Okay, that will do. That will do. I'll see if I can edit that into a video somehow. We'll try. All right, let's have a look at the time. Oh, that's exactly 1 hour, which is usually how long I live stream. So this is weird, because when I looked at my notes, I thought that is not going to be an hour's worth, probably about 45 minutes. And as it is, I've actually talked longer than I would normally talk. But there you go. So let's have a quick Q&A for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll finish up. I hope Necrons rock in 10th. I hope so too. I hope so too. Ah, that was great. Thank you very much. I can never do that in such a few takes. Impressive. Oh, I've spent many takes doing certain clips. I actually put up like an outtakes video, and there was one sentence that I was trying to take, and it took me around 12 minutes to say this one sentence. The thing is, you tend to repeat yourself. Usually, the best thing to do is to say it not on camera and then do it on the camera. If you try to do it live, it could be even harder. But yeah, it's just practice, I suppose. It's just practice. You filming Monday's game? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll definitely be filming it. Playing at Richard's house on his table. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks, Nick. See you next month. Will do. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate that. So yeah, if you have any questions, this is the time to ask them. In what edition did you like the Nightbringer the most? Oh, whilst 3rd edition, he was like mega awesome. I didn't really play him that much because it was a invitational miniature. You know, you had to like ask your opponent for permission. So I think the best time for me would have been 5th edition. That's when we had a Catan entry where they weren't named, Nightbringer and Deceiver, they weren't named. You had lots of different war gear options, and you could only take each war gear option like once, but that's when we could have up to 6 Catans, all with war gear options that are different. And that's when I did my 6 Catan list, which was a lot of fun. Not specifically for necessarily the Nightbringer, but in Catans in general, it was like the heyday for me. Even though they destroyed the lore for the Catans, in terms of the way they did the rules, I thought that was a good way of doing it. But then on the flip side of that, I thought it was really good, really cool that they actually brought the Nightbringer and Deceiver back with their own entries. So yeah, I mean, he's been a lot of fun to play in 9th edition. Very nice to see him have the cap on how many wounds he can take. Still a problem with just those 9 wounds. You know, most armies can take 3 wounds off in the psychic phase, 3 wounds off in the shooting phase, and 3 wounds off in the assault phase. Yeah, but it's been a blast to play. Right, I'm looking forward to it. Good stuff, yeah. Hey, my Nightbringer comes in a few days. I bought the one you have, although I'm not 100% sure how his powers work. The rules for that confuse me a bit. Okay, so he has 1 power of the Catan already in his data sheet. That's Gaze of Death. So that's what he has. And then you could pick another one. So, I mean, you can randomly roll the dice if you want to for that, but obviously most of the time you want to pick it. I always go for Trans-Dimensional Thunderbolt. I think it is for the first power, because it's got longer range. And then when you get close, you use a stratagem to change it to Cosmic Fire, so that any unit within 9 inches you can hit. It's great for when you're close. So that's it basically. He's got 2 powers, one he already knows, one you choose separately, and then there's other stratagems, of course, where you can then use another power for a CP, which you randomly roll, and it doesn't matter if it's the same power you've already got, you can still use it. And you do it at the end of the movement phase, so yeah, it's not really a shooting attack. It's sort of, it's not a psychic power, it's not a shooting attack, it's just our abilities, but can't be denied. So as it's not a psychic power, your opponent can't do the Deny the Witch, which is obviously one of our advantages. Any chance of doing a more flyer heavy list before 9th ends? Well, by more flyer heavy, I mean any scythes really. Okay, well, I have played well, first of all, you can only take 2 flyers now, can't you? So it's not really that heavy. But I have played 2 Doom Scythes in a list, and I do actually have a Doom Scythe in my list, which I'm playing on Monday, just a single one. But I never got to play the Flying Circus because at the time I didn't have the miniatures, and then when I had the miniatures, the rules changed. So it'll be interesting to see if that cap of 2 will stay in 10th edition or not. What new models do you think they'll bring out for Necrons in the new season, new edition? I believe, maybe this is just wishful thinking or not, or whatever, I don't know, but my gut instinct is that we would get, pardon me, some proper new Locust destroyers to match the heavy destroyers, and I think it's going to be the same kit but with just a new weapon on there. So I think we might get those. I'm also thinking that we will have some of our named characters dropped from the codex, and then the ones which remain will be made into plastic miniatures, so that I think the fine cast will go totally in the Necron force, and then we'll get some new characters maybe to match the size and quality of the new Illuminor Eris. So I think that's probably on the cards. I don't think we'll get too much because we had so much in 9th. Maybe one or 2 models here or there. Thanks for explaining. You're welcome. Oh, please, yes, new destroyers would be great. Yeah, the stratagem is the one that's confusing me, I guess. It allows you to just cast same one he already did. Yeah, if you roll for it, so you have to roll for it. Normally you're not allowed to use the same power twice, but with this stratagem you roll randomly and you can use whatever that power is. So it's pretty cool, but it is random. I only tend to use it if I'm at least at 18 inches, but ideally 9 inches away. If you're 9 inches away, it's a perfect one because that doesn't matter what you get, you probably can use it. If you're relying on being like 24 inches away and getting a 24-inch power, then you're really hedging your bets on a lucky dice roll. So just wait till you're close and you're going to do the most amount of damage. You're probably going to die the next turn. You're probably hoping that you'd explode and do as much damage as you can. And of course, make sure that none of your units are around, if you can help it, when it does explode. The magnet shop order just arrived. Oh, that's good, Jeff. So I'll be putting ultimate storage videos to the test later on tonight. Excellent. That's good. Yeah, and if you watched the very first video, of course, that's changed quite a bit from the last 2 that I made. I don't really do a lot of what was in that video because that was pre the magnet shop times. Or at least only from looking at the website and what I ordered. But they all they fit together quite well. So yeah, just watch all 3 and you should be an expert by the time you finished. Right, okay, so I think we will end the stream here. Once again, I really appreciate everyone joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure talking Necrons to you, Necron fans. So yeah, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.